Right, so this is where we last left off. We are looking at the coffee cafe, and so in this case, right, we finished with the purchase order, and we also finished placing in our coffee brewer, okay, into its correct spot while leaving the coffee grinder in the miscellaneous expense, okay? Right here, we only have one line here. There's no way that anybody can enter a transaction, so we can go ahead and move on to the third page and move on to the next scenario, okay? So we already hired elevator remodeling for this for the reinforcement of the foundation. Okay. So this is where we left off, right? We're starting on a new day now. It's June 11. All right, it's Tuesday. So here we end up receiving a bill from LV Remodeling Company for the remodeling of the shop. Okay, if you remember, we hired them to remodel our store after Kim Robinson gave us a recommendation. Okay, so here we go. Now we finally received the bill, and this is what's for. It's for $18.90, invoice number 1754, and it's going to be due in 4 days. So, how do I journalize this transaction here?
Wouldn't they be an expense? Because, like, similar to Kim?
Yes, it is an expense. Okay, now what kind of expense would this be? Let's take a look at my chart of accounts. Okay. Okay. Is this is this advertising? No. Is it bank fees? No. Is it business expense? I mean, that seems like a likelihood to be. Okay. Is it freight expense? No. Is it insurance expense? No. Is it interest expense? No. What about labor expenses, right? Here we have a subcontractor expense. I mean, in this case, yes, we hired them to do a job for us, right? We hired them to remodel our store. So in this case, yes, they would be a subcontractor expense because we hired them to remodel my store. Okay? So in this case, subcontractor expense, and because I received a bill, okay, my intentions, am I going to pay them now? I have 4 days to pay them, so in this case, no. I'm going to choose to record this bill, right, and not pay them yet. So we got subcontractor expense, okay, account number 6510. Okay, for $18.90. Okay. And since it is that, oops, what is going to be my credit account? Accounts payable, because I'm going to owe them the money. Okay. All right. And you have everything that you need here. So first off, who did we receive this bill from?
LV Remodeling.
Okay. Company. Okay. That we were billed with invoice number 1754. Okay. And it is due in 4 days. So net 4. So let's go ahead and enter our numbers into our ledger so we can have our account balances. So in this case, starting with expenses, this is a labor expense. Okay, interest, labor, subcontractor expense. There you go. We're on general journal number 3 now. Wait, are we? Or are we on 4?
You're on four.
We're on 4. We're on 4. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're on 4 now. So general journal number 4. Okay. And this was for 1890. Right? Now I need to go ahead and update my accounts payable to see how much money I owe. Okay. Let me see, this was invoice number 1754, general journal 4. Okay. And we increased our liabilities by another $1,890. So therefore, I jumped from 11,000 all the way to 13,000. Okay, no bueno. We're just keep owing more money. Okay. All right. Last but not least, right now that I did my journal and I did my ledger, I need to now update my subsidiary ledger. Okay, because in this case, I owe LV remodeling. Okay. So it's in alphabetical order, NV Utilities, LV Las Vegas Journal, Landlords, LV Remodeling right here. Okay. What notes do you want to put in here? Well, you could say this was the interior design job for the store. Interior. Okay. Invoice number 1754, right? Do post reference general journal number 4, terms. We were given terms. It's going to be due in 4 days. So no discount. However, it's due in 4 days. So what date is this bill due? It is due on the 15th. Good. No payments. However, on our bill, it told us that we owe $18.90. Okay. So let's practice that formula once again. Okay. Okay. You're going to be in your accounts payable column, right? Equal. We want the invoice amount minus any prepaids, minus any returns, minus any discounts, minus any payments. Enter. So we owe $18.90, and that's exactly how much we owe LV Remodeling. Okay. So let's take a quick overview of how much money we owe to each individual. So in this case, my All Things Ceramics, I owe $196. Okay, Atlas Coffee, we haven't gotten anything from them yet. Let's keep going. We got nothing here. We owe furniture store $9,033.75. Okay. We owe Halle Bros $2,634.15. Okay. And then here we owe them nothing there. We owe LV Remodeling $18.90, right? So as you can see, this column is supposed to add up everything that you owe. Ooh, I didn't even owe for my bank yet. Equal sum. I owe my main bank Nevada $29,221. Okay. And here I owe them nothing there, and so on and so forth. Okay. You owe NV Utilities, or in this case, restaurant supplies. I owe them how much? I owe them $600. Okay, 649.49. I owe Kim nothing. Okay, so again, that's what this column is for, is to keep track of how much money you owe to your vendors. So already right there, I have quite a handful of vendors that I owe, and the grand total is $13,000, right? So in this case, that's how we keep track of our vendors and where our money's going. This is technically, if you think about it, our vendors are basically us keeping track of our accounts payable accounts. Okay? So we owe a lot, okay? And then, of course, you want to keep track of when your payments are made or are due as well, okay? All right, so now that I did all that, let's see what has happened next. Okay. Here, we hired Irene Jameson, okay? She is going to be working as an employee for our store, right? Her pay is going to be $8.50, okay? This is back then. Per hour, okay? With no extra benefits, okay? Because we're such a small company, right? Do you think we can afford to have a benefit plan for her? We only have $6,000 in the bank and we owe $13,000. Do you think we can afford to have benefits for her? Usually, some kind of small mom and pop shops, they don't have that because they can't afford it. So in this case, we're just gonna hire because we don't know. But as our business expands, right, and once we become stable in our financial stability, right, then we can be like, okay, yeah, you know what, Irene, I can afford to go ahead and cover for you for some health insurance or cover you for your 401k. But for right now, I can't provide you anything except for a simple job. Okay. She's gonna work 40 hours per week. Okay. Friday through Tuesday. Okay, so that means she's scheduled to work Friday all the way to Tuesday. So her days off is Wednesdays and Thursdays. Okay. And of course, she's scheduled to start work on Friday, the 14th of June. Okay, so if you check your calendar on your journal here, right? I have a calendar on this one. Irene's going to start to work on the 14th of February. So 13, 14. So here, right? So Irene's going to start here on this Friday and she's going to work all the way to the rest of her career, right? So in this case, she's going to start working on the 14th of June, right? And of course, the payroll period is bi-weekly. Now, if you take a look at the calendar, we start paying on the 14th and the 28th of the Fridays. Okay, so in this case, the minute she starts working is the day that we start distributing our paychecks. So in this case, she's not going to earn anything, obviously, because she hasn't worked at all. So she doesn't get any pay on that Friday. But that's just a little note that you want to keep in mind, that the payroll period is every 2 weeks, and we're going to start the payroll process on the 14th of June. Okay? All right. So, what do I do with Irene? What do I do with this transaction here?
Well, you haven't paid her yet.
Exactly. You haven't paid her yet. All you did was hire her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We
is
don't.
yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
right. We do not need to record Irene as a transaction because first off, it's only June 14th. She hasn't even started working yet. She won't be scheduled to work until the 14th. So therefore, there's no transaction at all. Okay? Second of all, we just simply hire her, right? We have to probably go through the process of, background checks, making sure that she's, a legal legally able to work, right? We got to check to make sure she's legal of age to work, right? And we got to make sure that she files her W-2 form to W-4 form to us, and we also have to file a W-2 form for having her as an employee, right? All those steps are necessary for us to transition to actually acquire her as a employee. All we did was just hire her, and she's just scheduled to start working on Friday, Friday the 14th, of June. So in this case, no transaction necessary. However, this is pertinent information, right, about Irene. What do I need? Where do I need to put this information?
Payroll?
Payroll, or in this case, so if you're doing the Word document, you guys have your separate separate sheet for employees. Okay, for anybody that's following along with me in Excel, it's all going to be in the subsidiary ledger, because subsidiary ledger is all the people that are involved in your company. So your customers, your vendors, and your employees. So right here, I have my employees. Okay. I need to record information about her, right? Whether it's a note or whether it's any information. So in this case, right, we have Irene. When is the pay date? We said it's going to start on, so in this case, we said June 14, which she's going to start working. And then the next paycheck is going to be June 28. Okay. Now, who's this person's name? Her first name is Irene. Okay. Last name is going to be Jameson. Okay. What's her pay rate? $8.50 per hour. And so far, she hasn't claimed any hours because she can work up to 40 hours, right? But again, people are human, right? We have to make sure she clocks in, clocks out at those specific hours for her to claim her hours, okay? And there you go. So we can't calculate how much she is, okay? But we do need to also file her in a cabinet, right, to make sure that she processes her W-4 form and so on and so forth, okay? So there you go, all right? All right, so there we have Irene, okay? And let's see what's happened next. We also end up hiring Albert Allen, okay, as a sales representative, okay? And in this case, he's going to be working for commissions to be 10% based on his total sales that he earns, okay? Benefits are deducted from his commissions, but in this case, we don't have any benefits, okay? And of course, he is work to start on the 17th of June. So that means he's only going to start his job when we open the store as of June 17th, okay? And of course, he's going to get paid the same time as anybody that's on the payroll process, which is going to be bi-weekly. So that means he's not going to receive his check until the 14th or the 28th. So in this case, the 28th is when he's going to receive his first check. Now, in this case, we hired Albert as a sales representative. And in this case, we did not specify what he earns. always said that he earns is only 10% of commissions. So in this case, right, what does this sound like? What did we hire Albert as? If he has no pay rate, if he has no salary, and he's not told when to come in, what do you think we hired him as?
Another expense?
Okay, okay. You're treading on the right lines here. He is going to be considered an expense. But what I mean, what kind of employee or worker am I hiring Albert as?
Statutory,
Not statutory.
day worker,
Not a day worker. This person, I don't tell him when to come in the office. He all he has to do is show up and do his part of his job, which is to be a sales representative, and whatever money that he's earned, he gets 10% of it.
independent contractor,
Independent contractor. He is a 1099 worker. So in this case, we are not responsible for anything that we owe Albert. We do not take any money out of his we do not take any taxes out or pay anything for him. He is a mere expense to the company. So that means if he earns 10% of his sales, he gets to keep every penny, and that means he himself it has to be responsible to pay his taxes on his own, right? So in this case, this is a 1099 worker, all right? So do we need to record him in our books?
no,
Not now, because he is not scheduled to work until June 17. Yes, we signed a contract with him, but was there any transference of money?
no,
No. So in this case, all we need to know is we need to recognize that we hired Albert Allen as a sales representative that works and earns based on his commission. So again, if I go to my subsidiary ledger once again, I do have employees, but I have a separate column for commissions, okay? And this commissions column is going to be right for Albert Allen. Okay? And of course, he's getting 10% of commissions, which is going to be whatever sales that he's earned. Okay? So now it's a new day. It's Wednesday, June 12th, and we are going to pay $85 for a fourth of a page newspaper ad to be run from the 15th of June all the way to the 20th of June, okay, in the Las Vegas Register Journal. Okay? And we're going to finally use our business credit card. Okay? So in this case, right, if I'm buying a quarter page newspaper article, newspaper ad to be published from the 15th of June to the 20th of June, what did I buy? What was that? What is a newspaper?
Advertisement.
It is considered an advertisement. So in this case, I purchased some advertisement. Okay? Now, in this case, I bought advertising, right? That's going to be an expense, right? We know for sure that exists because we read through our chart of accounts many times for our expenses, right? That's the very first expense that we have on here is advertising expense for 60,000. Okay? Now in this case, I used my business credit card. Okay? So if I use my business credit card, what is a business credit card considered? Not a debit. I can't hear you.
Visa credit card?
It's a Visa credit card, yes, but in this case, what kind of account what type of account is a Visa credit card going to be?
The Visa payable?
Right, it's a liability, right? Because this is money that we are using in advance, but at the end of the day, who are we owing? We're going to be owing the credit card company, right? And we already signed the agreement that we're for any for the balances overdue, okay, is going to be subject to an 18% interest, right? So in this case, we are looking at a liability. So that means we're going to borrow some money that the National Bank Visa credit card, right, allowed us to have. So in this case, 22,000 is my Visa payable. Okay? And because I'm increasing my liabilities here, okay? Right? And how much was the advertisement for? $85. Okay? And here we have every piece of information that we need, right? We know exactly who we paid, right? We paid LV or Las Vegas RJ, right? We paid them for a 4th newspaper ad, okay? And that's pretty much it. If you want to put the dates in there, you can. But all I know is I bought a 1/4 of a page newspaper ad. Mm. And I don't need to say that I paid with a Visa credit card because it's already straightforward that I used a Visa payable to pay for advertising expense. Okay? So, now that we have my journal done, I now need to go to my ledger account. So, in this case, we finally have some advertising expense. Okay, so today is the 12th. Okay, we purchased a 4th page newspaper ad. Okay, General Journal number 4 here, and we paid $85 for this newspaper ad. Okay. And of course, because I used my credit card, I had to tap into a new liability account. Here it is, Visa payable. So our very first transaction that we used on our credit card was number 1, that I bought a 1/4 of a page newspaper ad. Okay? Now, oftentimes, what you're going to find here is that you will have on your credit card statement that it only tells you the place that you purchased items from. So example, like it will tell you that your transaction 000001 was made on June 12th to Las Vegas RJ. It doesn't tell you specifically of what those items are, but you do have at least the vendor, okay? So, I mean, it's your job to make your notes apparent so then you know exactly what you charged your card for. So, in this case, if I see that it's Las Vegas RJ, I must have bought something from them. So in this case, I purchased a quarter-page newspaper ad. Okay, if you want to add the vendor's name on here so you can make a double association with this transaction, it's up to you. I think just recognizing that, because if I compare my credit card statement to this, right, I can automatically know that since the numbers are going to be the same, I can know that at least, even though it says Las Vegas RJ, I know because in my notes I paid for advertising expense. Okay. All right. And then to post reference is General Journal number 4. And of course, because we increased our owing, right? We owe National Bank Visa credit card. Okay. We owe them for $85. So let's go ahead and I'm going to format this table here. I'm going to wait till our second transaction before we pop in our formula here. Okay. But there you go. So now I owe National Bank Visa credit card $85 because I charged the credit card for $85. Okay. Okay. Now, right, I also need to update my subsidiary ledger because in case for any reason that your Las Vegas RJ doesn't run your ad in the newspaper, you can come back at them and say, hey, we made this contractual agreement that you would run my newspaper ad in the newspaper and I paid for it. Okay? So in this case, I gotta go find LV Remodeling. I'm sorry, Las Vegas RJ. So here we go. LV Remodeling, Land, Las Vegas RJ. Okay. Today is the 12th, right? You purchase one quarter-page newspaper ad, and I'm gonna put to be run on June 15 to June 20th. Okay, so at least you know what the agreements are. Invoice. In this case, there's no invoice number, right? If you want to, you can use your credit card transaction number. That is completely fine. In this case, I just went to the office and told them to run my news ad. Here is the payment. So in this case, they did not record an invoice number for me. That's okay, as long as you can have the proof that you paid, right? And I can say I paid with the Visa credit card. So you can pull up your bank statement saying that, hey, I did charge this and I did send you the money. So in this case, that's the second proof of transaction is you have your business credit card bank statement to be able to prove that a transaction has occurred. Right? Post reference is for terms, no terms because you paid at time of service. So in this case, right, the invoice amount was for $85. And yes, I paid the $85 with my Visa credit card. Right? So therefore, I need to run my formula once again. Okay, to equal my invoice amount minus any prepaid minus any returns. Oops, I hit the wrong number. minus any returns, minus any discounts, and minus any payments. There you go. I owe Las Vegas RJ nothing, but they owe me service to run my newspaper ad from June 15 to June 20th. Okay? Everyone good with me so far?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So now that I finished my ad there and I paid, okay? Now, here's what I also happened on the 12th. I ordered 2,000 advertising flyers, okay, which cost me 5 cents per flyer, okay, and I purchased this from City Printers, okay, and they required me in order to get the job done, okay, they required me a 50% down payment. So therefore, right, to ensure that they don't waste their time printing flyers for us and we don't pick it up, they're going to charge us 50% of the payment, which is going to be $50 and we're going to pay with the business credit card. So in this case, right, we ordered 2,000 flyers and it cost us 5 cents each. So if you actually multiply that, that should give you about $100 worth of advertisement, right? But because they require me to put a down payment for 50%, so which is $50, right? To ensure that if they print out the flyers and we don't pick it up, they don't take a huge loss out of it, right? They got 50% of the money out of it. So in this case, how do I record my down payment for this? Prepaid, right? And how did I pay for this prepaid?
With Visa.
Right, we paid with the Visa credit card. Okay. So again, prepaid was $18,600. Visa payable, right? We just used it is $22,000. And how much was the prepayment amount for?
50.
$50. Okay. Now here's the question. Wait. Why aren't we putting this towards advertising expense? In this case, right, we just ordered 2,000 flyers. Did I say we received it or picked it up that same day? No. All I said was we ordered it. So in this case, we haven't even picked up the advertisement flyers in the first place. So there's no expense occurring yet, right? You don't record that you have advertising expense until you actually have it. Okay? So in this case, right? I didn't pick up my 2,000 flyers yet. I just ordered it. Okay? So in this case, no advertising expense here. Okay? However, you do need to make sure that you do make a note here that you paid City Printers. Okay? Ordered 2,000 flyers. Okay? And then say that this is a 50% down pay. Okay? In this case, I'll probably put extra information saying, okay, we bought 2,000 flyers, okay, at $0.05 each. So then the 50% down payment makes sense, okay? So once again, I now need to go to my ledger account. Okay. Here, let's see. I got a prepaid account. Oh, I'm in the wrong type. Here you go. Here you go, prepaid accounts. Right? It is the 12th right now, right? And we had a down payment on 2,000 flyers at 5 cents each. 50. Oh, I guess I could put that here in the very beginning. 50. 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers, 5 cents each. Okay. General journal number 4. And we got the down payment for $50. So therefore, I'm going to increase my prepaid accounts to 6,740 $6,704.17. Okay. And of course, we finally have our second transaction in our liabilities. Okay. So here we are, credit card, Visa payable, right? It is the 12th. And I'm going to go ahead and put down payment. Actually, let's do that. 50% down payment on order of 2,000 flyers. Okay. General Journal 4. And we increased our liability by $50. So therefore, practicing our formulas here for liabilities, you're going to go up 1, which is a credit, right, of the previous amount of $85. We're going to add any credit. So in this case, we're going to add $50, and we're going to subtract any debits because debits decrease, right? And that should give us a total of $135. So again, the formula for this is to go up 1 plus left 2 minus left 3. Okay, so again, we're going to add anything that's a credit and subtract anything that's a credit. Right? And of course, with this formula, you can drag it all the way down. Okay? All right? So, of course, now I need to go to my city printers. Okay? City printers. Here we are, city printers. It is the 12th, right? I placed an order for 2,000 flyers, okay, at 5 cents each, okay, with 50% down payment, okay, and I paid with the Visa credit card. Okay. Invoice number, we haven't picked up our flyers yet, so we have no invoice number. Post reference is General Journal 4. Terms, right? No terms here. But what we can say is that the invoice amount was billed for $50 and I paid it with the credit card. So the formula should equal to 0, right? We don't owe city printers anything. Okay. Let me see real quick. Oh yeah, we got quite some more to go. Okay. So now that I have all of that, right? I got my advertising expense. I hired my individuals. Hold on. Okay. So then let's see what happened here. Okay. June, yes.
And how come that one doesn't go in like the purchase orders?
Okay, because this one is because we're not going to. That's a good question. Okay, in this case, you can if you want to. If you want to purchase order these, you can. But in this case, we actually went to the actual office itself and ordered them there. We didn't call them and submit a purchase order. Okay, that's a good question. For any reason that you believe that we should use a purchase order, you know, again, that will be subjective to whoever's in charge of the books. Okay. In this case, we don't necessarily need to do a purchase order for this. Okay, so that's a good one. Okay, so now you asked me that question, right? Another question is, how come I'm not putting all these transactions and I'm not recording them into my National Bank Visa credit card, right? Why am I not putting it in my National Bank Visa credit card subsidiary account? Why am I not putting it in here? Why am I not putting my transactions in here?
Because it's not due yet.
Oh, okay. What do you mean it's not due yet?
Well, don't you get like the monthly bill or something?
That's correct, right? This is only reserved when we get billed, right? It's accounts payable, right? That's what this subsidiary ledger does is it shows us the transactions that we made, the expenses that we made, whether we owe them or whether we don't. In this case, we haven't been billed by National Bank Visa because one, we're still using the credit card, right? We're still racking up all the money on there and we haven't been charged or calculated interest yet. So in this case, that's correct. We don't need to tap into the National Bank ledger account in this case because I haven't received a bill from them yet, right? And there's many chances like, what if I decide to back out on my advertising expense? Then I just call them up and say I cancel, right? So in this case, we're not done using our credit card enough for us to be billed and charge interest yet. So in this case, we do not tap or use this account. Okay. Let's see. So let's see. What time is it? Okay, so let's go over this one and then we'll take a break. Okay. So then that very same day, June 12th, we end up receiving our coffees. Okay, Mike, our coffees are going to be perpetual inventory. Okay, so I got a perpetual regular coffee, which is going to be using moving average. And then I also bought Perpetual Supreme Coffee, which I'm going to use FIFO to go ahead and calculate. Okay? So here is the billing information. Okay? So, right, I get terms 1%, 15 net 30. Okay? They billed me on June 12th. Okay? They shipped it to my store. Or in this case, they didn't ship it to my store. We ordered 125 pounds of regular, 125 pounds of Supreme. Okay, here's the cost per items. Okay, so 135 for regular, 155 for Supreme, giving us a grand totals here. So here is the grand total amount that is due, which is $362.50. So in this case, I bought perpetual inventory. How do I record my perpetual inventory? Not purchase expense, that's periodic inventory. How do I record perpetual inventory?
The name of the actual item, so regular coffee and supreme coffee.
Excellent, right? Because when we learned in chapter 7, we don't refer them as expenses, we refer them as inventory. So in this case, let's take a look at my chart of accounts. Under inventory, let's see, what do we have under inventory? Office equipment went too far. Inventory right here. We got regular coffee for $12.20. We got Supreme coffee $12.40, right? And because it is perpetual inventory, we recognize them for what we purchased them as. So in this case, I'm going to journalize regular coffee and Supreme coffee. Okay. Regular coffee and Supreme coffee. Okay. And how did I pay for this? I received a bill.
Accounts payable.
We're going to keep it, we're not going to pay him now, we're going to pay him later. So in this case, we're going to pay him on an account. Okay, so 12.20, 12.40, and accounts payable is 20,000. So how much is going to go into my regular coffee and how much is going to go into my Supreme coffee? How much was my regular coffee for?
168.75.
$168.75. How much was my Supreme coffee for?
193.75.
So in this case, my grand total should equal $362.50. Okay? So in this case, you have every piece of information that you need, right? Who did we receive this invoice from?
Alice Coffee.
Good. Atlas Coffee Importers, okay? We have the invoice billing number, right? We were billed invoice number 315. And of course, we also have terms. We're going to get a 1% discount if we pay within 15 days. If not, the entire bill is due in 30 days. So they give us 30 days to pay for this coffee. Okay. All right. So before moving on forth, let's go ahead and go to our purchase order so we know that we finally received our coffee, right? We received our 250 pounds of coffee, which was invoice number 315. Okay. So now we have our coffees. Let's go ahead and place it into our ledger account. Okay. So now I finally have inventory, right? So go to your assets. We finally have some inventory. Here you go. Regular coffee. Okay. Right? I'm going to put my notes that we purchased 125 pounds. Okay? You don't need to say of coffee or of regular coffee because you're in the regular coffee account. So in this case, purchasing 125 pounds. If you want to put the unit price, you can if you'd like. But again, if I'm putting in the total amount here and I have a whole total of 125 pounds, I can easily do the math by just dividing it, right? So in this case, I'm just going to leave it there that I purchased 125 pounds. Okay? And reference is General Journal number 4. Okay? And I'm going to debit my account for $168.75. So in this case, that is my current account balance in my inventory regular coffee account. Okay? Go down to Supreme Coffee. Okay, Supreme Coffee. It is June 12th. We also purchased 125 pounds. Okay. General Journal 4. And we're going to debit our account by $193 and 75 cents. Okay, which is going to give me my account balance in my Supreme Coffee account to be $193.75. Okay. Last but not least, since we end up owing Atlas Coffee some money here, right? We need to record it into our liabilities accounts payable under invoice number 315. Okay, we're still on General Journal page 4, and we increased our liabilities by $362.50. Okay, which will increase our liabilities from $13,000 to $14,000. Okay, once again, not looking too good here. We're owing a little too much here, and we don't have enough money in the bank to pay for this. Okay, so that's that right there. Okay, and of course, because we owe Atlas Coffee some money, we need to create our account here and update our subsidiary ledger for this vendor right here. Okay, Atlas Coffee Importers. Okay, so here you could say we purchased 125 pounds of regular coffee. right? And 125 pounds of Supreme coffee. Invoice number 315, right? Post reference, once again, page 4. And terms. Yes, we were given the opportunity to take advantage of a discount if we choose to do so. So in this case, what would be my discount due date?
The 27th?
27th of June will be my discount due date. If not, when is this bill actually due? Yep, July 12th, okay? Because June only has 30 days. Okay? So that's that right there. Okay? And of course, we need to enter in that we were billed for $362.50. And of course, we didn't pay for it yet. So therefore, if I punch in my formula, it should reflect to me that I owe Atlas Coffee $362.50 with this invoice. Okay, with this bill, okay, we owe $362.50. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. Since we're done our journal, our ledger, our subsidiary ledger, last one because we have inventory, we now need to introduce, which we already did last time, we need to go ahead and update our inventory as well. So here, my regular coffee account, let's go ahead and fill this in accordingly. All right? So right now, I made it a little too big. So right now, the date is June 12th, right? We're going to skip over the cost of goods sold section. We purchased 125 pounds of regular coffee, which cost me $1.35 each, okay, which gave me a purchase price of $168.75. Okay? I'm going to tell you here to stop here because, yes, we will have freight, but the freight won't be calculated till later. Okay? So I entered in my information into my regular coffee. I'm now going to have to also enter in my information in my Supreme coffee. Okay? Because for my Supreme coffee, same thing here, right? I purchased on June 12th, skip over the cost of goods sold. I purchased 125 pounds at $1.55. So therefore, should give me $193.75, right? We already know that because we journalized it. We figured those numbers out through our bill. Okay? And I'm going to tell you to stop here because we will incur freight right now. Okay? So now that I entered into my inventory, right? Let's see what happened next. Okay? What also came along with that bill was Mr. Mr. Freightline here delivered the coffee to us. And they charged me a separate fee for shipping. So in this case, they billed me and I had to pay because it's COD, which stands for cash on delivery. So that means I must pay this vendor in order for me to receive my coffee. Okay, so there you go. For delivering 125 pounds of regular coffee and 125 pounds of Supreme coffee, they charged me a grand total of $62.50. Okay? So in this case, how do I record the freight for my inventory? We're going to put it into our inventory, right? Because if you remember that rule in chapter 7, right? Whatever extra cost, extra expense, it's all going to go into inventory. Right? So in this case, regular coffee in Supreme Coffee. And how did I pay for it? What was that? No.
Checking.
We paid with a check, right? Because it said check cash on delivery. So we had to cut them a check to pay for the delivery here. Okay. So regular coffee was $12.020, $12.040. Now in this case, my grand total came out to be $62.50. So in this case, how am I going to split the freight?
So you just divide it in two?
You divide it in two because I got even amount of pounds weight distribute, right? Because shipping is based on weight. In this case, I have an even amount of 125 pounds of regular and 125 pounds of Supreme. So therefore, I'm going to take my $62.50 and divide it by 2. So how much am I going to distribute the freight for the regular coffee?
I got 31 and 25 cents.
$31. Yeah, 31 and 21. 20 good. Okay. And that should give you a total of $62.50. All right, and my checking account was $10,100. So therefore, I need to cut a check because I don't have any cash available on me. So therefore, check register. Okay. It is the 12th. I paid $62.50 to Freightline. Okay. Using check number 1512. Okay. So of every piece of information that I have here, this was billed from Freightline. Now in this case, they actually issued me an invoice, like a separate invoice. Okay, invoice number 482 is my invoice number. Billing me for the shipping of the coffee. All right. And of course, since it was on COD, right, I paid using check number 1512. Okay. So therefore, right, now that I wrote my check out, I now need to update my ledger accordingly because of I have to go ahead and place it to my ledger so I can have my correct amount in my inventory and the correct amount in my checking account because I spent money. Okay. It's the 12. Now what I want to put here is shipping cost. We're still on the 4th journal. And I increased my account by $31.25. So therefore, I need to do my account balance in my regular coffee account. So again, I'm on the debit side. I need to go to the previous amount. I'm going to add any debit. So in this case, $31.25. And I'm going to subtract any credits, which is going to be the blank side, the blank box on the left. Okay? Enter. And that will give me a total of $200 in my regular coffee account. Okay, and I'm going to drag this formula down. So every time I enter in a debit or enter in a credit, it will adjust my accounts accordingly. Okay. I also have to do the same thing to my Supreme coffee, right? I have to place in my shipping costs here too. For $31.25, right? Same formula. You're going to go in your debit column. You're going to go your previous balance of $193. You're going to add any debits, which is the $31.25. And you're going to subtract the left blank column in the credit. Enter. So now I have $225 worth of inventory. Okay, for my Supreme coffee. Okay. Okay. Last but not least, since I cut a check, I need to update my checking account because I wrote a check. Okay. I wrote check number 1512. Okay. 1512 on general journal number 4. And I wrote it out for $62.50. So therefore, my bank should decrease from $5,752 to $5,689. Okay. So I definitely decreased my bank account. So I only have $5,600 now in my bank. All right. So now that I recorded my inventory, I recorded the freight costs that were directly related to my inventory. Now I can go ahead and record and update my inventory. Okay, let's do the subsidiary ledger first, since we wrote a check out to Freightline. So let's do that one first, and then we'll go ahead and update our ledger, our inventory worksheet. So here's Freightline. Okay, it's 612, right? I'm gonna go ahead and say shipping cost for delivery of 250 pounds coffee, okay, from Atlas Coffee Importers, right? So invoice was the 482, right? Post reference, right? We did this in general journal number 4. Oh, another part of information that you could say here too is I paid them using check number 1512. Okay. Since the terms are going to be COD, okay, so therefore the invoice amount was for $62.50, and I paid the $62.50 using check number 1512. So if I punch in my formula once again, invoice amount minus prepaid minus returns minus discounts minus payments, I should owe Freightline nothing. Okay. All right, so then now let's go ahead and plug our numbers back into our inventory worksheets, starting with the very first one here, right? We had freight of $31.25, okay, which gave me a total cost of $200, right? We know that from calculating it in our ledger account, okay? So in this case, right, because I'm using weighted or moving average or just average costing in general, okay, I need to figure out, because this is my only batch of inventory that I have as of right now. So in this case, I need to calculate what my average cost per item is right now, right? So in this case, what's my average cost here per item? $1.60, okay? And because this is perpetual inventory, I'm going to go ahead and move these values and copy them across my table. Now, if you guys remember, since this is moving average, I'm needing to have to constantly calculate the average cost per item. So in this case, the formula needs to go into my cost column. Okay? Nowhere else, because I don't want to have to keep calculating my average cost every single time. Okay? All right? And I want them to display at least a couple decimal places. Okay? So that's my first entry here, saying I have 125 pounds of coffee at $1.60, which yields me a total of $200. Okay, which we know is true because this is what we are going to be doing from here on out. We need to match our inventory worksheet to our ledger. My ledger tells me, right, because I'm using rounded numbers, I'm punching them all in there with only two digits after the decimal, right? My ledger is always going to be more accurate than your inventory worksheet. But this is where you're going to be matching your numbers. So in this case, my ledger told me I should have $200 in my regular coffee. Here you go. I do have $200 in my regular coffee. Right? We need to also update our Supreme coffee because we also had another $31.25 for my freight, giving me a total cost of $225. Okay? Now in this case, we mentioned that we're going to calculate my Supreme coffee as FIFO. Okay? So because we're going to be using FIFO, I need to solve for my cost per item. So in this case, what is my cost per item for this batch of inventory? $1.80. Good. So I'm going to carry it into my inventory on hand, but making sure that I keep my batches of inventory separate. So in this case, however you want to calculate it, I like to keep the formula in my total cost. So then every time, let's say I update my inventory, right? Let's say I have 100 pounds left, it will automatically calculate it for me. Okay? In this case, I have 125 pounds at $1.80, and it's giving me a total of $225, which matches my ledger. And I'm going to go ahead and create a little bottom table here so I know how much inventory I have on hand at all times, okay? So I'll make this a nice light blue, okay? Because in this case, right, no matter how many batches of inventory I have, I don't get an actual equal sum, where my ledger will give me an actual equal sum, okay? So there you go. Oh. So I'm going to equal sum this once again. Okay. Giving me my total quantity. Okay. So right now I have a total quantity of 125 pounds of Supreme coffee at a grand total cost of $225. Okay. Okay. Everyone good with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here for now. And we can go on our break. Right now it is 2:52. Okay. So I'm going to round that to 2:55. Okay.